Equatorial Guinea, Africa's only Spanish-speaking nation, borders Cameroon and Gabon, and its capital city, Malabo, lies 25 miles from the coast of Cameroon on Bioko Island. The first discovery was made in 1984 in the Alba gas condensate field. Equatorial Guinea began producing oil and gas in the 1990s, and the country has become one of the largest producers in sub-Saharan Africa. But with its oil fields aging and production and global prices still declining, Equatorial Guinea is attempting to breathe new life into its energy sector by diversifying into gas and petrochemicals, bringing new oil fields online and repositioning itself as a services hub for West Africa.
La reducción del precio es muy difícil porque ha sido una reducción cerca de 50%. Tenemos que asegurar que la exploración continúe. Por eso tenemos que seguir promocionando nuestros bloques, tenemos que seguir atrayendo empresas para que vengan, porque cuantas más empresas tenemos, más perforaciones se llevan a cabo.
A lower price environment can actually benefit more established producers. Companies in this type of environment tend to target lower risk, lower cost ventures, and Equatorial Guinea has a lot of proven shallow water acreage and a lot of pre-existing infrastructure.
Equatorial Guinea has some advantages when it comes to the declining oil prices in that their demand for budget and resources is less stretched than it is in larger economies. They have done well. They've also done well over the years, as best I can tell, in preserving the revenues and resources that it's developed so that they are able to weather the storm of the lower oil prices.
It's well positioned along the equatorial transform, and it's got some great blocks in the deep water and the ultra deep water areas. So to ensure the longer term sustainability of the industry, Equatorial Guinea needs to draw investment into exploration of those deep water blocks. Exploration has been to an extent de-risked, and where a discovery is made, it can be tied back into that infrastructure at a significantly lower cost.
One would really think that the global oil price environment for a country like Equatorial Guinea would open up opportunities. Bioko Island. It has one of the largest oil export terminals in the region. So from a logistics and infrastructure perspective, it could become a sub-regional hub.
Equatorial Guinea is trying to build a big industrial base around its oil and gas sector, and for the longer term and more sustainable economic growth, that's a very prudent approach to be taking. The problem is that these types of projects tend to be very capital intensive, and so Equatorial Guinea really needs to get a more stable oil and gas production outlook before it can draw in that kind of investment.
I think the key lesson is really to diversify away from oil. It needs to become less vulnerable to oil price shocks, and you've seen in the latest slump in oil prices that those that are extremely dependent upon oil, like Angola and Equatorial Guinea, they've been hit very hard. So it needs to try and stimulate development in non-oil sectors. And I also think it needs to try and develop things in the downstream sectors, so petrochemicals plants, fertilizer plants.
Equatorial Guinea is pushing a lot of local content at the moment, trying to get more oil companies to involve locals in their production, in their facilities and all that. But you need to balance incentives to ensure that you're not just pushing local content without the right support structure behind it. For instance, in terms of education, you target specific segments, you develop the content locally in the universities, you train, and if you need to send them abroad to learn and come back and teach them, you also need to adopt that kind of strategy. One thing right now that is quite exciting about Equatorial Guinea, that's the gas. Equatorial Guinea is gas rich. If you look at their reserves, currently it's only about 1.7 billion barrels of oil equivalent. The bulk of that is crude oil, quite all right, but it's mostly light sweet oil. On the converse, they have roughly about 200 million cubic feet of gas.
It has a very strong gas framework and a framework for foreign investment in the gas sector. And there's really an opportunity for strong public-private sector partnerships that can really help the development of gas infrastructure.
Guinea Ecuatorial ha sido pionero en utilización de gas. Ha sido pionero en construir la planta de metanol más grande de África. Ha sido pionero en llevar a cabo planes de desarrollo muy acelerados. Ha sido pionero en construir plantas de LNG en tiempo récord. Entonces, cuando nos vino esta oportunidad de ser los primeros, de tener un barco flotante, no lo dudamos.
The Fortuna Floating Liquefied Natural Gas Project is a very exciting project for OFIA and for Equatorial Guinea. It'll be the first deep water FLNG project in sub-Saharan Africa.
The Fortuna FLNG project is really important for Equatorial Guinea's gas sector. It's a very attractive project, it's got very low cost structures, and it will allow for a doubling of both production and exports from 2019 when it comes online.
Ophir has been in Equatorial Guinea since 2006, where we took a position in the exploration license Block R. Since that time we've acquired extensive 3D seismic data. We've had 3 drilling campaigns, including appraisal wells and a drill stem test on the Fortuna gas field. That's now put us in a position where we're able to develop the 3.7 TCF of gas that we've discovered through an innovative floating LNG production system.
Nos permite poder explorar campos que de otra forma serían marginales y que nunca se exploraría. Llevando a cabo esta nueva tecnología, podríamos de alguna forma demostrar que lo mismo que pasó con el petróleo, con los barcos flotantes de producción, lo podemos hacer con el gas.